Hello and welcome to Dave the Soup Betting, Horses for the Notebook. This is a series that I put out every Sunday where viewers send in horses that they think have been unlucky, or maybe the jockeys weren't trying as hard as they might have. And believe me, we've got a couple of those in today's video. Here's the first one. It was sent in by David Evans and the horse is called King Sharja. It's trained by Ruth Carr, and on this occasion the passenger was James Sullivan. It's over 1 mile at Newcastle. Here's the race. So this is Newcastle, the straight 1 mile course, and the horse we're interested in is the one in the lead with the noseband. It came out of stall 10. It's led all the way so far as we're just touching the 3 furlong pole, and it's called King Sharja, and it was sent in by David Evans. Let's have a look what happens. So he's in the lead, he's going well enough, going easy. Now it is very, very difficult to lead all the way at Newcastle. You can see all these as we're now at the 2 pole. These are rowing along. They're coming down the middle, they're rowing along and being ridden. Still going okay, this one. But let's have a look at the jockey. James Sullivan, I believe. He just half pushes it. He's not... I mean, look at these. Very animated, but not James Sullivan. He's just pulling it, pushing it, or pulling it. I mean, there's not much urgency of any sort whatsoever at all. He's not really even pushing it, is he? I mean, look, these are all going like crazy. 10 to the dozen, and he's just... I mean, what's he done? I mean, he's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's come 8th. And he's never, ever made any attempt whatsoever to win the race. Well, you tell me. You tell me. So, King Sharja, Ruth Carr. Here's the race. Sullivan, I thought it was. Now let me tell you about Ruth Carr. What happens with Ruth Carr? She gets older horses from, let's call it, better trainers, and they're off good marks, and she runs them down the pan. Let's have a look at this one. So she got this off Richard Annan this year, and it was rated 76. So she run it down the pan, down the pan, down the pan, down the pan. Basically down the pan, down the pan, down the pan. And then she gets it down to a mark of 54. And it wins over the 7.5 furlongs or so at Beverley. And then it wins again. James Sullivan off 57. Good to firm at Beverley. Then runs on soft. Then runs at Newcastle over a straight mile. Now, both its wins were on good to firm. They made no attempt to win the race. No attempt to get the best possible position. So it was just being ridden down the pan. Arguably, we're looking at good to firm ground at a track such as... Beverley's not a hard track over 7.5 furlongs, but it's just a stiff uphill finish of 2 furlongs. Carlisle maybe. I think Pontefract could be a little bit too stiff, but drop back to 7 on good to firm. It's not badly treated off 60. Let's have a look what it beat. So it was running off 57, 50, 51, 48, 48. Ooh. Oh dear, these are poor races. Interesting. Now, the horse has never won on the all-weather. It has won 2 from 12 on turf. For me, they're just running it down the pan, or maybe they might have got a race planned for it at Newcastle. I don't know. But it has won at Beverley, but it has won on good to firm. They've got 2 meetings left at Beverley. Now, the horses it's beat were not up to much when it's won. They were very, very poor quality, but you do get that kind of racing at Beverley anyway. So keep an eye out. There's 2 meetings left at Beverley. Other than that, I don't know. The ground, it's only won on good to firm. Might not get the ground. The second horse featured was sent in by Alp Levy. It's a 3-year-old gelding trained by James Tate, ridden by PJ McDonald, and this was over 7 furlongs on soft ground at Carlisle. Here's the race. So this is just shy of 7 furlongs at Carlisle on soft ground. The horse we're interested in is the one next to last, called the Amazon, and it was sent in by Alp Levy. Let's see what happens. So we're coming round the bend. We're about to hit the 4 pole. He's next to last on the inside. He's being pushed along a little bit. And there he is on the rail still, next to last. I mean, he's some way off the leader there. He's got to be 10 off, at least. Hit the 3 there. Being pushed along to stay up. It's gone round the inside, saved a few lengths there. Now, they're all being pushed along, apart from maybe this one here. And the grey, possibly. Now, it's coming through. It's coming through. Gives it a crack there, 1 crack. Now, he seemed to stop riding there. Maybe he got obstructed. The angle was a bit deceptive. Comes through horses. I mean, he's not hitting the horse. He's showing it the whip, but he's not hitting the horse. And it comes through up the inside. Hands and heels. Stays on reasonably well. And gets beaten. Comes second. So it's a 3-year-old. Trained by James Tate. Was ridden by McDonald that day. Now, that was its first run since being gelded, and its first run for 74 days. Now, it has won on good to soft at Windsor as a 3-year-old. It didn't run as a 2-year-old. Let's have a look what kind of race that was. So it was running off 73, got beat by a 71. And that basically looks like its race. So, soft ground. Let's call it 7 furlongs. Possibly ready to win. So that was the Amazon. It's run on good to soft at Haydock over 6 furlongs. That was over 7. It looks like it could be capable of maybe up to a mile. It does need soft ground. That was its only run since being gelded and a layoff. They'll get a win out of it, hopefully before the end of the season. What is the left 6 weeks or so? So it'll get the soft ground. Put it in the notebook. You never know. Okay, the next horse was sent in by Nigel Huxtable. He was the first one. Quite a few people sent this in. It's called Barley Brown. 1 word. It's trained by Ruth Carr, would you believe, and ridden, surprise, surprise, by James Sullivan. Again, this was at Newcastle, over 1 mile. Here's the race. So what we're looking at here is a horse called Barley Brown coming out of the 1 stall. It was sent in by, well, it was sent in by a few people, but the first one was Nigel Huxtable. What I also want you to keep an eye on, and I'll have it with a red arrow, I'll point this one out during running, is the one coming out of the 3 stall, Mr. Heinz, ridden by Ben Sanderson. So we're looking at Barley Brown, ridden by James Sullivan for Ruth Carr. What you've got to remember, over the straight course, in a large field like this, having a low draw is not ideal. Let's watch the race. So that's Barley Brown in the yellow colours with the noseband. And then Mr. Heinz is the one there that's just thrown the blind off. The red cap. So they're all going to come across this side. So straight away you're at a disadvantage. And as you can see, Barley Brown, he's took a serious tug, switched it round horses, and is basically, well, he will be more or less last. Now Mr. Heinz has stuck out wide, but he decides also to tuck it in behind a couple of horses. So they're next to each other. So here we are, basically last and second to last on the outside. Now, as you notice, we're approaching the 5. It's not a perfectly straight course, Newcastle, over the so-called straight mile. It does arc right. So, as the race starts to get down to the business end, we've got Mr. Heinz here with the red cap on the outside. And we've got Barley Brown, who could arguably follow Mr. Heinz round. Let's see what happens. So Mr. Heinz has gone wide, but not James Sullivan. He decides, I'm not. He decides to tuck it in. There, did you see? Now that wasn't the horse doing that. That was the jockey. He pulled it in behind this horse. He didn't want to go wide. He pulled it in on purpose. Mr. Heinz has gone on the outside trying to win the race. Difficult to do on the far side. But not James. No, not Mr. Sullivan. He's tucking it in. You could have come round this horse just like Mr. Heinz did, like this one, and come round. But he doesn't want to, and he's pulled it. Look, he's pulled it right behind horses there. Right behind horses. Now, Mr. Heinz is having a go on the outside. Like I said, low draw is not great. Now, he's just going to put it into the middle of the pack and then deliberately, in my opinion, my not so humble opinion, run up the side or back of a horse. Watch. He's on. Look, he's practically stood up in the stirrups. Mr. Heinz is trying here. Not too hard, but he's trying. He's just pushing it. But look at this. Never trying. He pretends to push the horse there. Look at it. Look at it. Just bumping it along. Stood up. Out of picture. And stood up as they go past. Mr. Heinz is here. He was up alongside Mr. Heinz. And he's finished 6 lengths behind it. Not great. Not great at all. So this is the race. Newcastle all-weather over the straight extended mile. Basically a 0 to 60 for 3-year-olds and upwards. And there you go, Mr. Heinz. Drawn 3. In rear, headway from 2 out. Went third, final 110 yards. Kept on, but no impression towards finish. And here we have, go down the pan, Barley Brown. At the 1 box. In rear, waiting for room over 2 out. Wasn't waiting for room. He tucked it in on purpose. Not clear run repeatedly from over 1 out. Whose fault was that then? Some headway when not clear run final 110 yards. Eye catcher, which I dislike. Jockeys said Gelding was denied a clear run on several occasions from approaching the final 2 furlongs. Yeah, okay, sunshine, we believe you. So let's have a look at Barley Brown's form. It ran off 55. So it can win on the all-weather. 7 runs, 2 wins, and a couple of placed efforts. 4 out of 7 is not that bad. Win and place. That was the run last time out. So it's running off 55. Let's see what it's won off. It's won off 51 and 50. All at Newcastle, all over a mile, and once on turf at Bath over a mile. On good to soft. So the mile at Newcastle does suit. It had a shot here at 7. Let's have a look what happened. Towards rear, not clear run. Yeah, where have we seen that before? I don't think it'll come down for that run, else it already would have. What did it beat? It beat a couple in the Little Ted. Rated in the mid 50s and low 50s maybe. Prior to that, off the 50 mark, beat horses rated 60, 57, 61. It's capable in the grade. Let's have a look at Mr. Heinz. At least he tried on that. Mr. Heinz, 9 runs on the all-weather, 2 wins and a couple of placed efforts. Very similar profile. So it's gone down 1 for that, from 50 to 49. Prior to that, it won off 46 over the mile. Same jockey. He's a trier, he's an apprentice, he's a trier. Beat horses basically, let's call it mid-50s. That was out of the 1 box, but only 11 runners. It's when they get into 13 and upwards you've got problems. Well, the horse has won a couple of races, course and distance at the all-weather. It has actually won on soft ground over a mile as well at Bath. It's beaten better horses actually, so it still looks capable of that mark if they are trying. Now, Mr. Heinz, which was in the same race, I mean, the jockey gave it, an half-decent run. He didn't whip it to death, but he gave it a fair ride, and he tried with it to some extent, and he got a place. That's never won on turf, but it definitely looks still as though it can win on the all-weather. It's been dropped £1 for that, from 50 to 49. Barley Brown hasn't been dropped, nor an ounce. But Mr. Heinz looks capable, trained by Simon Whittaker, and a capable apprentice in Ben Sanderson. This is not an honourable mention, but I can understand it. Big Toe Dan, you sent in No Go's Dream. It ran at Sandown, it came 4th at 7. It got hampered, it didn't get a clear run, and I thought, yeah, I'll feature it. And then I looked at the profile. Oh dear. It's had 14 runs on turf. It's come second 8 times. It's never won. It's been 7 to 2 or shorter 12 times. It's only won 1 race. That was at Wolverhampton at 4 to 11. And you definitely want to be a layer than a player. And I couldn't put it out, in all honesty, for people to back, because it just looks like a professional dodger. Prior to that race at Sandown, 6 consecutive seconds. Those are the type of horses that bookies buy Porsches with. Okay, I'm no longer taking horses for the notebook that have ran on turf. So it's either National Hunt or the all-weather. We're running out of time on the turf. So that's it for the turf season as far as I'm concerned for the notebook. National Hunt or all-weather. This is Dave the Sue. Hope you all have a good week. Look out for those horses from the notebook and keep a tracker. Bye for now.